see it now. Look at that. Very
Okay,
cool.
go live on Facebook.
Yep, I clicked it. You're good.
Okay.
All right. That's live. You can go in and change the description later, but it's working.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Zach. We're back. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. And no, we won't lie to you. That's what the big media, the big expensive, well-paid, big facilities, trillions of dollars to lie to you. Now they're trying to backtrack. But we've been telling you the truth from the beginning. That's why we're here. Hyper-local news talk, the Peak. Go to thepeak.news for more information and join us, because the more truth tellers we have here, citizen journalists, interns, etc., the better. And our sponsors, if you'd like to be a Peak sponsor, there's information on there too. We'd love to have you do that. And a shout out to our gold Peak sponsor, Home Comfort Heating and Air, where if it's not okay, you don't pay. They are actually, well, Vern's a really good friend of mine, and they do our HVAC system in our house. And thanks so much to Home Comfort Heating and Air being a sponsor of ours from the beginning. Check them out, and you can find them on our website and commercials playing during the program. So we have here in this segment Audra Gapper, who's our guest for the entire hour. She's our investigative journalist intern who is reporting on youth homelessness, and she has her preliminary report on that to give now, called The Place. Audra.
So the place, I don't know if many people know, because I didn't know. It's a youth shelter. They have 3 different sections. They have the outreach center, which we visited, and they also have the main shelter. It's very interesting because we were just looking for like a place to start, and we found out that the place, it only has 20 beds, and it can help 20 kids, ages 15 to 20. As soon as they're 21, they're kicked out. They have to send them somewhere else, either Springs Rescue or some other place. And then with the outreach center, they are more like a first step, where they give people different like medical supplies when they go out in like Acacia Park, where they find most homeless, and they try their best to give them like different donations and things that people give them, and they absolutely want to help as much as they can. They just don't have all the resources they need. And when they're helping homeless, they're always trying to make sure that they keep like their traumatic experiences and different kind of trauma-informed care. That's what they called it. And just trying to make sure that each kid is kind of given a chance to really be successful. And they have many different classes that help them. They have different kind of like job helping and many different skills. And it's just an interesting thing that I did not know about. And just going about it, like they had so many like things that they're really trying to help the community with. Like recently they have this thing, the launch pad, where they're trying to have like 50 apartments for different kids and everybody. And it's a really cool project. They're trying to finish it next year. And it's just an interesting place. It really helps for kids in different kind of places, and like each place has a bunch of case managers. They're really trying to kind of get their message out there, because there's not a lot of places for youth to go. And we found that the place, or at least when we talked to the supervisor, that they gave us so much information. I learned so much just going to these places and kind of learning what they're all about. And it is a journey, definitely. We learned that there is so much like they don't have and so much they need, like different donations, like boots, hats, coats in winter. It's definitely a hard time for different kids in homelessness, and the best way that people can help is, you know, just really looking out for those people, trying to donate. It's really inspirational for them. And all they're trying to do is really just help the homeless, and really trying to build on to what they already have, which the Launchpad will definitely help with. Um, and it's definitely just a really interesting experience, and I'm really glad I got to learn about it.
Okay. So when we come back, we're going to be talking with Audra about how she did this research, what it was like doing it, and also where she's planning to go as she continues to research youth homelessness here in the Colorado Springs, El Paso County region. We're here on the Peak saying the quiet stuff out loud, bringing the news to you in a hyper-local way. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman, and we'll be right back after this quick national news break. Cool.
Good.
Yeah, a little awkward,
Yeah.
little things, we'll work it out, but I wanted to just leave you out there so you can see what it's like to do it, but cool.
Yeah.
So in the next segment, you know, would like, if you haven't thought of this already, but like, where's this story going? What are areas you're looking into? Are there other locations? Was there anything about, I'm not sure if the place was the one that's sort of controversial, and it was about transgender youth, and it was sort of the city council, and was this that place, or?
So the place.
Because I know there was a place that was just recently, there was a lot of controversy in the past year about it.
I mean, the place is kind of one of those.
Okay.
But it did seem like they had. Oh, they didn't tell us too much, but they did have some like transgender,
Right.
and they the specific shelter we went to, they didn't have like much mental health services, which we really were looking into, and it's a
Okay.
little controversial on how they're run,
Okay.
which we wanted to look into.
Okay, so bring up people like controversy in the news, you know, that we're going at issues, so you can bring that up in the next segment of like, where are you gonna take, you know, now that you've done your first stage, where are you gonna go from here?
Yeah.
Really cool. Okay, so this is a quick break, we're back in probably about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, so we're on to page 4. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. And just for example, that commercial you just heard about the Peak News and becoming citizen journalists, that was voiced by James, who's our tech intern. We've had him on the program a couple of times, but he more likes to stay behind the board. He's more of a tech guy. But when it came time to voice that commercial, James stepped in and did that. It's fun at a radio station. We're always doing things, and if you would like to be an intern, or you know somebody, you have youth in your life, maybe a child, grandchild, or someone in the neighborhood, tell them to check us out and reach out. My son Zach is the intern of interns down here right now, and he's running the internship program and putting things together. And we have an opportunity to do either to major on, like Audra is doing, being a producer journalist, or on the tech side, social media side, but everybody learns everything at the radio station, because the way things go around here, sometimes the tech person needs to get behind the mic, and sometimes I need to hop behind the board, because hey, we're doing radio here, we're doing broadcast, and you got to do what it takes. So in this segment, we're going to be learning more about Audra Gapper and how she put that report together that we just heard in the last segment on the place about youth homelessness, and where she's planning to take that reporting, because she's just, as you can tell, just scratching the surface on things. Audra is our investigative journalist intern down here, and she's been researching, again, that story on youth homelessness. But before we get back into that, Audra, would you give us your background, please? I know you're not that old, so you can't go too far back, but what got you interested in journalism? You know, how did you end up here at the Peak?
So I'm a senior in high school, and I mean, I've always been really interested in movies and writing, and one day I got an email from the Peak, and I was like, well, might as well try. Mostly my parents were like, you should really, really try, and I'm kind of shy, so most of the time I'm not pretty confident, but I've really learned a lot here. I've learned so much about myself and just the process. It is not like in the movies, so don't expect that. It's just been really interesting.
And like what brought you to an interest in journalism? Like what got the bug?
So really what got me interested in journalism specifically is I've seen it like in movies, I've seen different things in news, but I never really was confident in the sources I had. I always wanted to change, like, and see the truth. I don't want to just sit on the sidelines because I'm usually shy, but I want to have a story that means something to actually make a difference.
So look at that. All of you out there who've been hearing me invite you day after day after day to become a citizen journalist, and maybe you're a little shy or wondering whether you could get on the radio or what's it going to be like. We now have, Audrey, you're 17?
17.
17 years old, a shy person, somewhat introverted, but deciding, you know what, there's stories that need to be told. I need to step up. So I hope that inspires you, both prospective interns and you older folk out there. Come do this. It's fun. We'll do this together. And my job as executive producer and host is to help make you look good, and help draw that out from you. And that's my pleasure to do it. So how did you get interested when it came time and you met with Jordan Baldwin, who's our head of investigative journalism here, Jordan from First Amendment Media, and you decided the topic that you wanted to pursue. And we have big topics here to go after. So this is a long journey, and we look forward to more reports from you. But how did you come about picking this as the topic that's on your heart that you wanted to report on?
Well, I kind of picked youth homelessness because I see it everywhere. Like, I see it driving to school, not as much, but I do see it when I go places. And it kind of hurts my heart knowing that there's, like, people out there that don't have what I have, that don't have the opportunities that I have. And also, it's youth. I always like to, kind of speak out for kids that can't, and I really haven't had the opportunity until kind of now, and saying, you know what, there is a problem and let's address it. And when I did pick it, I was just like, youth, like, that is the key word for me. It doesn't matter kind of what's wrong with them, it's about how can we help.
Okay, and have you gotten to the point where you've been able to look into the major causes of the homelessness that you can share with us of why these youth in our area are ending up on the streets?
So I kind of looked for that each place we went, and we didn't find too much on like a specific reason. I feel like it's been happening so much, and maybe just recently because of all like the unrest politically, or kind of like drug use or abuse. Like, there's many different things you can pin it on, but I think COVID was one of those catalyst things that made it like worse. And well, it affected me, but definitely affected more kids just having to be home, or if they didn't have a home in general. It's just very difficult. It really kind of screwed us up, COVID. But we're still trying to look into that.
Not so much the COVID,
Yeah,
the government's response
yeah.
to the COVID, yeah.
It's not the disease, it's the government. But it's kind of all, I couldn't get a good answer from each person I kind of asked. So that's one thing, like, I'm going to keep looking into. And that's one thing I really want to pinpoint is, like, what really is the problem?
Yeah, we need to get to underlying problems, not the symptoms, right? We need to deal with those. So tell us about the journalistic journey, what it was like going out with Jordan, and because really you're investigating. In a way, you're like a police detective. You're chasing down leads, trying to pick up on things, deciding where the story is. Fill people in on what it was like going through that over about the past 1 or 2 months since you've been here and started pursuing this track.
Well, it's really been interesting. As I said, it's not like the movies at all. It's kind of...
What do you mean by that? What do you see in the movies that you're saying it's not like?
What I see in the movies is you see kind of like, you imagine kind of like a spy or an undercover reporter kind of thing, And really, with all of this, you're really upfront with all the information you're trying to get from them. And maybe you don't say like all your motives, but you try to be like, okay, we want this information. If you can help us out. And in reporting, it's kind of more schemey, and I don't think that really is how it is now. Definitely not real life. Real life, you're supposed to just try to get the information and not try to do it for one to gain something. It's really just to get information in general.
So what did you do? Could you tell us about like some things that led to other things that led to other things?
Yeah. So when we were kind of first starting out, I did a little online research just to see what we had, and Jordan already knew kind of a little bit about it. And mostly we just try to see if we have any leads before. And then when you're actually like seeing places, like we started out with like just Inside Out Youth Services is the place we started with. We didn't get too much information, but we do want to go back. But anyway, they referred us to the place, and sometimes it's interesting because sometimes people will not. I haven't had that experience. Everybody has been pretty open with each place we've gone to, but if we'll just need to dig more if we don't find information at that one place. And kind of the thing you need to do is like make a plan, and even if you don't have a plan, be like, okay, what questions do we really want answered? And then if you get an interview, it's awesome. Like I got so much information like almost every time we went, and that's kind of the process. You can either get like a call there, or you can go in person. And when we went out to like the outreach center specifically, we went into the place. We got like a whole tour and everything, which Jordan informed me wasn't usual. So it's really interesting to see like different places and how people react when you're saying like what you're doing and where you're from, because I've heard that, and I know that news is kind of like not as open, or people aren't as open because they're suspicious.
Yeah. Well, Jordan said that you were shown a lot of favor more than he was, and maybe being a youth is helping you in that, and that's great. We just want to tell the stories in a fair and balanced way here. Where do you see, what are some of the topics, what are the things that you're going to continue to chase down? What are some of the things that you think different subtopics of this you need to report on?
Mental health is definitely one of the things that I connect with and that I originally wanted to do, as well as youth homelessness, and I definitely want to get more into that, just because I know it's a big problem and it's not being taught as much, and I don't know all the resources, so I'm trying to figure those out. We also wanted to look into like DHS and kind of like the foster care stuff, because it wasn't as clear how it was run and like what connections they had with like the place and different things like that. I just definitely want to look into that and find more information, because I love information. I want to tell people all the things. So looking into those.
Okay, wonderful, and thanks so much for doing this. We really, really appreciate this. You're somewhat pioneering our internship program in the investigative journalism area. We have just about a minute left. How overall would you rate your experience here at the Peak, and encouraging others to come join the Peak family here, Peaksters?
I'm finding it so much fun, so interesting, and anybody who's going to do it, I'd really recommend. Like, it's such an experience that I don't think everybody sees every day. And I've enjoyed it so far, and I'm really hoping to continue.
And did you think you'd be like getting in front of a mic when you signed up for your internship?
I'm not really. I kind of just expected to be like working, and not like have my voice on the radio, which is a new experience.
It's awesome, and thank you for doing it. And I know, and it does take skill, and it does take overcoming some fear for doing that. So thank you, Audra Gapper, our investigative journalist. We invite you to join her here at the Peak. But Audra, thanks so much for what you're doing, and we look forward to hearing your continued reports.
Thank you.
So go to thepeak.news, yes, thepeak.news, for everything The Peak, and find out about being a citizen journalist and an intern, and on and on and on. Also check out our educational foundation and consider supporting it, as we're seeking to teach youths about ethical journalism and to give them their break in media, like we're doing with Audra, with James, with Zach, and with others. When we come back, I'm going to talk about how the media has been the big loser in this election. We'll be right back.
Whew.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yep.
Do you have your eye appointment now? You were able to move it, or?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Is it pretty close by, or?
Yeah, it's at like Chapel Hills, so
Oh,
it's not
great,
too
so you're
far.
just a few minutes away. Worked
Yeah.
out great. Okay.
Do you need anything from me? Or?
No, I don't think so. Thanks so much for changing your schedule around here.
Well, it's pretty fun.
That's
doing
fine,
myself.
okay. You know if your parents were listening or anything?
My mom said she'd try to listen.
Okay, well, we'll get, Zach should have the, by tomorrow, should have the podcast up hopefully, so.
Cool.
But the Facebook Live was, is already there.
That's cool.
So, thanks a lot, I appreciate it. Keep it going.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Is it up?
It had closed down, so I just put it back up.
He just brought it back up.
So when did we lose it? Partway through?
I don't know, he just called me and let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing with the timing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and Jim's talking about driving 2:48. 2 minutes and 48 seconds.
So he's an extra 18 over, so
Yeah.
I have 42, 442.
Yeah, or you could even just say he's 20 seconds over to make the mental math a little
No,
mental
okay.
math easy.
No, I just write it up here. So I have to be out by 442, and he's talking about what?
Driving. What he hates about driving in the Springs.
Okay, okay, thanks. Welcome back to the Peak. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer, and Thursdays is our media and education day as we end out our broadcast week. We take a break on Fridays and leave it to Dirk Hobbs of the Southern Colorado Business Forum and Digest. But I like doing on this segment, I like doing commentary on the media, and I have to tell you, I have to tell you, I'm feeling quite smug. Because I think that people are really, really waking up to how far the media has fallen. And that the election that we just went through has outed it so completely, so undeniably, that editorial departments in large newspapers are being gutted out. The owners are recognizing that they can't do this anymore if they're going to actually have a newspaper or something that's called a news service or anything with the word news in it. I don't know, NPR, you're on notice, and others, you're on notice, that you can't just do such biased reporting. Now, I'll admit, here you're listening to conservative news talk radio. It's a Salem network station. It's out there, intelligent conservative. That's the motto of this station. But we here at the Peak, and this is not a Salem production. We actually buy the time, and we're independent of that. Although I am an employee of Salem. Also politically, I'll tell you, I'm unaffiliated. Although I'm a conservative, but I'm more of a small government, leave me alone libertarian is what I call myself, small government person, but tend to be on the conservative side, and as a person of faith on that and guided by that. But you know that about me. So I'm coming on and I'm telling you that. And when we're giving opinion, we feel it's pretty obvious. When we're just reporting on things, seems pretty obvious. But when you combine this advocacy and hide it behind just calling it straight news, that's where we get into the problem. There is really no such thing as unbiased news, and maybe there shouldn't be, because we put things into context. We're actually supposed to. Plain facts, you don't know what to do with them. I mean, look, you can interpret facts a million different ways. But good news should put things into context and also serve its local community, not try to change it radically, but to represent it properly, as well as calling it to a higher level. And that's what we're seeking to do here at the Peak. But as we saw in, let's say, the presidential debates, where there are these people that are called moderators. What does that mean? They're supposed to moderate, but did they? No. They were fact-checking one candidate, not another. They were being aggressive and belligerent toward one candidate, not another, not doing their job. And then we have this situation where over the last few weeks, as the liberals, Democrats, saw the writing on the wall, that they were just had, flailing. They pulled out everything with the Trump is Hitler and the threat to democracy and the whole world is going to end. And then the moment he wins decisively, what happens? There's going to be a peaceful transition of power, and Biden is meeting with Trump, and it's like, what happened? Is he a threat to democracy? Is he a fascist? Is he Hitler? I mean, Hitler? Come on, man. Hitler? I mean, that's a pretty big example, considering that the man was already president for 4 years. How did he show himself to be Hitler? But as soon as it was over, suddenly all that went away. And I hope that people all over are understanding we can't do this anymore. We can't have journalism like this anymore. CNN gutted out, these newspapers firing their editorial boards. They're going to clean themselves up. Why? Because the public is on to them. We're on to them, and we're demanding more, and I want you to demand more. And that's why we came up with the Peak. And the reason I'm smug is I've known this for a long time, that we've needed to have independent, real journalism here in our region, and we're doing it. And we hope that you join us in some way down here as we're doing this scrappy little grassroots journalism here out of the radio station here in Colorado Springs. And someone who's been with us since the beginning, Jim Miller, doing the Peak Rants. We love Jim, and today he's talking about how he hates driving.
I'm Jim Miller, a veteran father, husband, I'm an uncle, just a guy, I'm overworked and overtaxed, and this is the Peak Rants. Alright, driving all this annoying, irritating driving in the Springs is getting on my nerves. I don't know about everybody else, it's getting on my nerves. I have to drive on Murray and Platte pretty frequently, and there seems to be a wreck almost every day right there. I don't know what's going
Thank you for joining us today on the Peak as we finish our broadcast week. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, and we invite you, if you were inspired today by Audra or anything that we're doing here, that you go out and you say the quiet stuff out loud yourself. There are so many stories, good, bad, ugly, middle ground. We live in a wonderful region, but you know what? It's filled with human beings, and so there's lots of stories, and we want to tell as many of them as possible, but we need your help in so many ways. So go to thepeak.news, consider being a citizen journalist, or a tech, an intern, a sponsor, a guest. All of that information is there, including contact forms. And want to thank our top sponsor, our platinum sponsor, Springs Dentist, and Dr. Craig Summer, Holistic Dentistry in Colorado Springs. They're our family dentists, great friends, and great patrons of the Peak. Been supporting us since before the beginning to get us on the air in the first place. And so thank you so much. And you thank them by making them your dentist, especially if you're looking for a holistic dentist. Thank you to Matt, our producer, to Salem Media, for giving this crazy guy a mic. It's a joy to serve this community. So we air Monday through Thursday, as I said, 3 to 4 p.m. So we're not here tomorrow, but Dirk Hobbs and the Southern Colorado Business Forum and Digest is, so tune in for that. Monday is our Business and Culture Day, and we have Lola Wallach, President and CEO of the Southern Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce for the past decade. And we'll be talking about local women-owned businesses in our region's economy in general. Now stay tuned here on The Answer for the Larry Elder Show. And if you can't get enough Peak, go on the Peak.News to our podcast page. We're pushing 150 podcasts at this point. I'm sure that you're going to find some information, some guest that really interests you, inspires you to say the quiet stuff out loud yourself. Hi, I'm Goldman the Watchman. Thank you so much for joining us, being a fan of the Peak. Let others know who we are and where we are for such a time as this. Shalom.